Hello and welcome everyone. We're pleased to welcome so many people to today's information session. My name is Christina Zenker and I will introduce you to the team in the beginning and then hand over to my colleague Edona Elshan. For your information, today's session is twofold. We have two parts. First, we have a part where you get an actual onboarding into the Bachelor in Business Administration. Our aim is to make the transition into your bachelor studies as smooth as possible and give you the required tools for that today. Very important as well is the Q&A part, where you have an opportunity to ask any questions you might have about the studies in the Bachelor of Business Administration. The second part today that will start at 6 o'clock tonight is a part where you learn about the different services at the University of St.Gallen, be it mentoring services, other counseling services, as well as a glimpse into the student mobility services. So it's definitely worthwhile sticking around for that as well. Now, we will record today's information session, at least the first part, the onboarding session. So if you want to get back to it, you can. We will upload this session on our Canvas community site for students. If you haven't yet received an email or an invitation to the Canvas community site, please let us know. We'll show you, or we'll give you our email address or contact info towards the end of today's information session as well. Okay, so let me start with the onboarding session, the onboarding part. First of all, of course, we want to welcome you to the Bachelor in Business Administration. You're here today because you chose to major in business administration. We think it's a great choice, and we're happy to today give you some tools and tips and tricks on how to plan your bachelor studies as smoothly as possible. So on the one hand, the aim of today is to give you in-depth insight into the curriculum, how to best plan your courses and your studies, but also other relevant offerings at the University of St.Gallen. We'll give you some input on how to best choose your courses, how to go about the bidding that will start next Thursday. That's, of course, a very important part of your life here at HSG. And very important, last but not least, of course, is the Q&A. We'll devote ample time to answer your questions. I'm also very happy to welcome Julius Vandel today. He's a student in our program, and he will give you insights into the Bachelor of Business Administration from a student's perspective, and will also be here for questions at the end of this session. Also with us today are Karin Lambrecht and Raffaella Strehlen from the Contextual Studies, and they will also be here for any questions about the language requirement, for instance, or any questions that we are not as competent to answer. Okay, I'm having a bit of a slow reaction. Voila. Okay. One thing I want to say before I hand over to my colleague is I want to introduce you to our team. So who exactly is behind the Bachelor of Business Administration Program Management? So, sorry, I keep jumping ahead. On the one hand, we have Jan-Marco Leimeister, who is the academic director and in charge of the strategic development of the program. My name, as I mentioned before, is Christina Zenker. I'm running the operations of the program together with my team, Andrea Wahl, who is in charge of the evaluation of the program. So you will get in touch with her if you're part of the evaluation group, for instance. She runs the awards at the university or in our program. Then very important as well, of course, Susan Gmündel, who is in charge of communications in our program. You will most likely have maybe already been in touch or will be in touch with her whenever you call our number or when you write us an email. She's a very important person to know. And last but not least, I apologize for not being able to show the slides. Last but not least, our research associates, Roman Rice and Edona Elshan, who help us in the Bachelor of Business Administration to improve our processes, to improve the teaching. For instance, Edona was in charge of setting up the bachelor thesis platform, which makes it easier for students to find a bachelor thesis subject. Edona, speaking of technical improvements, may I ask you to take over the steering of the presentation so you can show the Mentimeter code and take over?
Yeah, so I hope everyone is able to hear me. Okay. Okay, so also hello from my side. My name is Edona, as Christina mentioned. For today's sessions, we're going to use Mentimeter. So if you have any questions concerning anything during this presentation, just scan the code, the QR code with your mobile phones, or if you're currently sitting at the computer, put the link into your browser. And if you have specific questions, for example, for the contextual studies, or if you have questions concerning the languages, just put at contextual studies or put at languages. Or if you have questions for Julius, our student, our Bachelor in Business Administration student, just put at Julius. And we will be able then to allocate the questions and answer them at the end in the Q&A. If any of the questions that you post will not be answered until the end, we will then create like a FAQ and we'll send it then to you. Also, this presentation and the recording, I think, will be uploaded to Canvas afterwards, so you will have the possibility to have a look into it. Okay, I don't know why this is doing it. I didn't click it. But yeah, let me start with the insights into the Bachelor in Business Administration curriculum. As you might know, your studies are built in two pillars. You have your core studies and you have your contextual studies. Within your core studies, you focus on courses in Bachelor in Business Administration. Within the core studies, you can choose between compulsory courses, course electives, and then elective courses. The compulsory courses are courses that you have to do. So, for example, courses that you have to do that you cannot choose which one you will do are, for example, marketing, the capstone project. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on, and the bachelor thesis, for example. And within the core electives, there's a catalog of many courses that you can choose from. We're having some technical issues. The presentation is not doing what I wanted to do. So let me jump back to the other. Okay. So within the electives, within the core electives, these courses are important for something that we will tell you later on for your specialization. You can choose from a catalog of courses from the School of Management and the School of Finance. As you might know, our university is built into different schools, which give different courses. These courses will then go into your specialization also. And in the last bucket, you have the elective courses that you could choose courses from any of the other schools. As mentioned before, at the end, or most probably at the end of your Bachelor in Business Administration Studies, you will have to write a bachelor thesis, which is now self-ECCS. Then you will have also the contextual studies that are built up in skills and the focus area. We'll talk a little bit about more skills and focus area, as well as the languages after on. So, as I said, within the core electives, you're possible to choose a specialization. Currently, we have 9 specializations that you could choose from. You don't have to do one. You can. So if you want to, if you're, for example, into marketing and you ask yourself, okay, how does TikTok influence marketing today and companies' strategies on marketing? You probably want to do specialization in marketing. If you're focus, for example, on number crunching, and you like to crunch more numbers, you want to do more core electives in finance. The cool thing about the voluntary specialization is that if you have the compulsory courses and 4 core electives, which then are a total of 16 ECTS, and either the capstone project or the bachelor thesis within the specialization. For example, if you do 4 core electives within entrepreneurship and the capstone within entrepreneurship, you will get the supplement, diploma supplement at the end of your studies. This could be a good signal for example, someone that wants to do entrepreneurship at a VC, internship at a VC, or for your master's, that as you already show some interest within this profile area. Okay, once again, your studies consist of core studies, compulsory courses, and core electives. Now, let me show you, for example, if you want to have a specialization in accounting and controlling and audit, you would have a look at your core studies. You would have to do your compulsory courses, and then you could choose between your core electives. You could choose mostly accounting and controlling and auditing courses. How do you know which courses are within accounting, controlling, and auditing? You go to courses.unisg.ch. It's a very important website that will help you throughout your studies, because it's kind of the course catalog. All the information about the course content, when it will take place, where it will take place, who will give it, are within the course catalog. So the courses.unisg.ch. Then, for example, you can click on the specializations. You would go to the accounting, controlling, and auditing specialization. Would have a look at the courses there, and you could see, for example, here one of the courses is taxation and reporting of companies. You would then be able to see the fact sheet of the course, which, as I said, lists all the information about the courses and also the exams. And most importantly, everything that is within that course sheet is legally binding. So, for example, if it says that it's an open book exam, it will be an open book exam. If it says that it's closed book exam, or some of the aids are admissible or not, this is the place you should have a look at. One thing which is also important to mention, if you have a look early on at the fact sheet, for example, now it might be changed in until September or so. I will check it twice. So if you done your bidding, just check it again if it's still the same exams as before. So coming to bidding, as most of you did not have to do it in your first year, so you just had your courses that you had to take. This year you can choose mostly. One important thing, it starts next week. So I would start planning ahead, think about courses that you want to do, maybe talk to students that are older than you, what kind of courses they like, that they enjoy. Have a look at the course fact sheet beforehand. And there are 2 aids that will help you with the bidding process. One is the bidding instructions that are online, and one other thing is the app developed by the SHG, which is called Bid It, which will actually show you, for example, when the course will take place into your calendar, and if you have collisions with all the courses or not. So, and to have all of this from a student's perspective, I would like to let Julius have a chat about his voluntary specialization.
Yeah, so what I can say about the voluntary specialization is basically you have to really have a think about if it fits your thought of where you want to go, and also also the general path of studies you want to choose. So I'd advise, if you want to study in any of the sectors where voluntary specialization is possible, have a thought about if you want to also do your master's in there, or if you want to go into the job life directly after the bachelor's. Because from my experience, voluntary specialization can be very valuable if you're really interested in the subject. However, mostly if you're doing a master's, you will also spend your master's on the subject if you're really interested in it for a job. So it isn't really, it's not that mandatory if you don't plan on going directly into the job life after the bachelor. However, it can be very valuable. I didn't do it personally because I liked a little bit more flexibility in the choosing of my studies. However, I had some courses. I had 2 or 3 courses in operations and innovations management. And when you go to these courses, you also see that they kind of touch upon each other. So it really makes sense to do them if you like to go in deep into the topics about operations management, or also finance and international management. If you already decided that you want to do one of these subjects as a voluntary specialization, I'd also advise to think about if you will be able to get all those courses in the bidding. I don't know if there is enough offering now, but at least when I was in the bachelor's, I'm studying my master's in fall, at least for international management or for management, it was quite hard to get all the courses you need in all the bidding rounds, because a lot of students were interested in them regardless of their interest of doing a voluntary specialization. But to get all of them can cause you quite a hard time when you really want a voluntary specialization in a subject where most of the students are interested in, because you need a couple of courses then, and you need to not only be lucky, but also very, very reliant on those subjects in the bidding process. So yeah, would make sense to go to bid it, to see how possible it is to really get all of those courses in for the voluntary specialization. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Julius. Yeah, we're currently working on that part, so that everyone is able to get into the courses that they want. So we adjust also our courses according to the demands each year. One thing that I mentioned before, okay, so is that if you want to do a voluntary specialization, you would have to do either your capstone or your bachelor thesis within the specialization. Either way, if you're not doing a specialization, you will have to do a capstone project. A capstone project is a team project in which you will apply and integrate the skills that you got from your Bachelor in Business Administration courses to a real world problem that comes from an industry partner. So you could choose them, for example, from different challenges or different challenges, and within a team you would try to solve the problem as good as possible. We'll have a semester for this. It is quite fun, as Julius will tell us afterwards. One thing that I have to mention here is since the beginning of this year, we are also awarding capstone project awards to the groups which has for the most innovative or the most suitable solution for this problem. So it's really good if you put some effort into the capstone project, not only because you would get a good grade, but also because you might be awarded. And how the capstone project works from a student, I will let Julius tell you.
Yeah. So basically, the capstone project is an 8 ECTS course, which you will be able to choose in the bidding 2, depending on your planning in 4 or 5 semesters. It will be there will be different options in the bidding for which topic you want to do the capstone project. So in my time when I did the capstone project, you had the option to do a finance capstone project or a strategy capstone project. Also, you could choose a little bit on the sector. So there was one which was more in the retail sector, one which was more in the automotive sector. So there are a lot of different options which you upon which you can choose, and that's also one of the most fun parts, that you get your own say in which topic you want to work on. If you want to have a thought about how the capstone project is structured, so it's like a student consultation project. So you get a praxis partner, so a company that you will work with in the process from the HSG, and a project partner, which will be 1 or 2 persons from the respective company, who you will work together. And basically they will give you a topic for which you will file a proposal, what the objectives of the consultation project are. And then you will do a whole semester where you will work with the company to reach the objectives of the project proposal. And that can be all sorts of different types. So in my group, we had a media company, and they asked us to file them a new proposal for a strategy in the podcast sector, because they wanted to touch upon that. And it was very fun, because you can use it for all sorts of different methods. We did a quantitative analysis with a survey, and also some interviews with industry experts. You can really use it as a platform to use the tools that you learned in the core objectives or in the other courses you visited at the HSG to use them in the praxis. And yeah, it was really fun. There are a lot of different variables which will and can cause you a hard time in the capstone project. It's not only all fun and games. So for example, you can have a very demanding praxis partner, but that's also part of the deal, that you don't use it as a free for all where you can do everything that you want, but also to fulfill the needs of the company that you're working for, like in real life consulting. I'd advise you, because it is a group project, that you before you choose the project that you want to do, of course you can decide if you're really interested in the subject that you want to do it, but maybe also consult with other students or students that you already work with if you want to do a project together. So you really already have the team chemistry for the project, because that is really important when you do it. So I think my group consisted of 6 team members, which was really a lot. Communication is key in the group when you work on your individual or group tasks. And knowing some students, not all of them, but some of them, before you enter a capstone project can be really valuable for the 3 months that you're doing it. After you fulfilled the project, there are different deliverables in the capstone project. So you will deliver the company that you're consulting a project report, which will be very, very, yeah, it will be very big. I think, what was it, like 40 pages in my group, where you will where you write your strategy and the tasks you did, and what the outcomes were of your project. There will also be one report on the teamwork, how you work together in the team. And for that, I'd advise, don't push it to the last 2 weeks. You can do it, but it will cause you quite some stress. We we didn't do it as a group, but we made sure to do different to apply different tools in the capstone project process, so that we can understand each other team. So what we did at the very start is like a team contract, where we wrote down what we want to be as a team, what our values are, and how we define our work as a group together. We also did it's called 16 personality types test, where we all you can do it online. There's an online tool for it, where we all answered thoroughly questions, and depending on them, we were given each a personality type, about our communication style, about our group work, and then we published it all together in our group, and we spoke about it. And so we knew, okay, one of us is very commanding, and he likes to take the lead. Some of us are more introverted, who just like to take tasks, but when they say something, they try to make it very, very important. So not just say something for the sake of it. Those are all tools that can be used, or you can also use some tools from the leadership courses if you visited some of them at the HSG, besides the compulsory one. So yeah, teamwork is key in this. Don't take it as something that you just have to do, which is mandatory, but embrace it, because the project will only work if you can work well together as a team. And in the end, all of you will be given the same grades, and working against each other in the group really makes no sense. You have to really have a good team chemistry to get a good grade. Yeah, and I'm also quite positive about this capstone project award. I was in the first iteration of the capstone project. It had some hiccups in the beginning, and the capstone project awards, I think they were introduced about a year later. So yeah, you also have something that you can work towards too. And from what I've heard, you will be presenting in the square before industry experts and some professors from HSG. So it is a really good opportunity to also get some network going, or to publish it on your LinkedIn if you want to. But don't take it for granted. It's a big opportunity that HSG offers you. And if you do it well, the companies that you work to tend to sometimes offer you internships when they saw that you did a really good project. At least in my group, it was the case, and also from some friends I've heard. So all in all, it's a great opportunity, and I'd also advise to allocate a lot of time to it in your semester. When you do your semester planning, when you have a capstone project on your plan, I wouldn't advise just to do your normal 30 credits, but also to see where you have to do which exam, when your deadline for which essay is, because capstone projects tends to need a lot of time, as it is a full-time project during the semester. It's not something where you could just go to a course once a week. It's, at least for me, it was an everyday project where I had to communicate every day with the group. And yeah, it will need a lot of time if you really invest it. But you need that if you want a good grade. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Thank you so much, Julius, for this insight. So two little remarks concerning the groups. In some of the capstone projects, you can choose your group, and some you cannot. It depends really on the instructor that is giving the capstone project, if he lets or she lets you choose your group or not. The second thing is that you would all have to bid for the same capstone project within the bidding. So if your friends are bidding on entrepreneurship capstone projects and you're bidding into business informatics capstone projects, you probably not will end up in the same group. So and sometimes bidding is not so logical. So it might be that your friends might end up in a group and you not. But I would take this also as a chance or your opportunity to meet new people, because I bet you did not meet all of the people that are currently studying business administration within the bachelor. So this is a great opportunity to make lifelong friends, which was for a lot of group projects for me the case. I still have contact with people that I had group projects with in the bachelor's. So another opportunity to make lifelong friends is an exchange. And at the University of St.Gallen, you have many different opportunities to go on an exchange. You can go to a partner university or as a free mover, as most of you might know. And we have also two special terms, the LATAM term and the Asia term, that takes place, one in South America, the other one in Asia. One thing that I have to mention, or two things that are very important, is some of the compulsory courses you cannot take in your exchange semester. For example, methods in statistics and empirical social research, fundamental methods of computer science. You have to take them at the University of St. Gallen. So you are not able to take them anywhere else in the world, even though they might be the same courses or more or less the same courses. So plan ahead when you want to do your exchange and how you will allocate these courses into your curriculum. Also, for most of the cases, the capstone project cannot be taken abroad, except for the Asia term and the Latin term, which offer their own capstone project. So one thing that has changed from the time that I was studying in the bachelor's and then master's is that you can actually take now courses during the semester, even though if you're abroad at university, and they will be partially credited towards your bachelor's. Another thing you should consider before going to an exchange is have a look at the courses they offer. So it might be very fancy or nice to go to a place with beaches and have a good time there, but it's very important that your courses will be accredited towards your bachelor. So have a look at the course fact sheet. If they are not online, ask the university to send them to you, and send them to the admission accrediting office early on at the University of St. Gallen to kind of check if this course would be accredited towards your bachelor's or not. And lastly, if you enjoy the experience of going to an exchange, you can go more than once. You can go twice. But just have a look at the amount of credits that you have to do at the University of St. Gallen, and so you should plan ahead of that. A thing that you could also do during your exchange, but most probably you shouldn't do during your exchange semester, is your bachelor thesis. But as with the exchange, we recommend that you start looking for a supervisor very early on. If you want to be done within 6 semesters, you are too late if you start. It's too late if you start looking for a supervisor in January or February to hand in your thesis in May. Keep in mind that it's still 12 ECTS, and that it's still a great amount of work that you have to do for the bachelor thesis. A very good course that you should take before starting your bachelor thesis is the empirical social research course. That is a compulsory course, and it really prepares you for the bachelor thesis. Also, there will be information events from our side in the March, but I think it's still too early for you. But if you're interested, just keep out for this info event. So I had talked a lot about the core studies. Let's move to the contextual studies for a bit. As you might know, you have contextual studies at the University of St. Gallen that are skills in languages that kind of complement your expertise in business administration with other sciences or other areas. And as we have some specializations or different profile areas, so does the contextual studies. So as you might notice during your bidding, say contextual studies are structured into different areas, and according to the areas, you kind of can look out for the courses. So if you're more interested into cultures and want to get more insight into how cultures work, or if you're more interested in history, kind of would look out for the courses that have like history before the course title within the contextual studies in the courses website or in BIDIT. Another thing that is possible within the contextual studies that is not so known or that not so many people know is that if you really enjoy one of your contextual courses and you really enjoy working with that supervisor or with that teacher, it is possible for some courses to do a workshop of it. So you would choose the course, for example, in the fall semester, and do 3 or 6 ECTS within this course. And if you really, really enjoyed working within this course and the course offers it, so look out for this too. So sometimes it's a workshop possible. You can then build on the course of the fall semester in the following semester, for example, in the spring semester, and then write a little thesis or a little paper about the content of the course, and then we'll get accredited some other credits too. The good thing is if you really enjoyed doing this, so you enjoyed taking enjoyed taking the course, then you enjoyed taking also writing this complementary paper. It is also possible for you to build on this knowledge and to expand this into a bachelor thesis, or then later on, if you stay in the University of St.Gallen, to a master thesis. Okay, so as I said before, the contextual studies also have languages. Most of the students are kind of confused sometimes between the language that they have to do with the contextual studies and the complementary language requirements of the University of St.Gallen. As a HSG student, you have to have proof of at least 2 foreign languages by the end of your bachelor program, as you might know. But you can also accredit external language certificates. So, for example, if you did proficiency in English as an external company, or you've been abroad for 1 year and then have certificate from there, you can try to accredit this towards your bachelor. Yeah. And then the other thing is also that within your studies, as you might have noticed, you have to do 12 ECTS in the other language. So if you're studying in German, which most of the people in this part of the presentation won't be, so most of you will be studying in English, I suppose, you have to take 12 ECTS in the other language. So you will have to take 12 ECTS in German. And this might be courses from the compulsory or core electives. You can choose between these buckets. So it have to be the core study courses. We say they have to be the core study courses because it cannot be your bachelor thesis. So you cannot write your bachelor thesis in German, then accredit it towards the complementary languages. Very important. In principle, you can also complete the 12 ECTS during your semester abroad, but I would not really rely on this one because hopefully COVID does not get worse, but the semester could be abroad could be cancelled, and then you would still have to do the 12 ECTS at the University of St.Gallen. For a native English speaker, or for English speakers, I would look out for courses that have a lot of English terms if you're not so settled in German, to kind of make your life easier. But I think your fellow students have some tips and hacks, which courses are easier for non-German speakers. Okay, so we talked a lot about the core studies, about studies within the Bachelor of Business Administration. What else can you do if you have still some free time between studying and your leisure? You could also have an additional qualification. Currently, there are 2 additional qualification programs at the University of St.Gallen that you can do during your bachelor's. One is the data science fundamentals, which is open in the 3rd semester of the bachelor programs. So I suppose it would be this semester, and also the business education. You have to know that for the business education, it's only in German, and you cannot do it in English. If you're saying like, okay, there was a lot of studies things, I would like to get to know something about what I can do in my free time. There are a lot of organizations. It doesn't work. Okay. There are a lot of organizations that you can join at the university, as you might know. There are a lot of possibilities that you can also work with practice or work with NGOs and NPOs. So I would really kind of look out for the organizations, and most probably this is where you'll also meet kind of your people that have similar interests and build lifelong relationships with them. One other thing that we're trying to start from this semester, so would be the Bachelor in Business Administration Study Board. As you might have heard, we had a relation group in the last couple of years. We're trying to expand that to a study board. So you would be able to kind of organize workshops together with us. We have an exchange between students and HLK alumni, to organize events, and to build a Bachelor of Business Administration community. So if you're interested in doing that, please write us an email to majorbevel@uniasb.ch, or just come by at our office and have a little chat with us. And together we can then look what we can shape in the next couple of years. So this was a lot from our side. Now it's your turn. And we will go to the Mentimeter to have a look at your questions, your and feedback and suggestions. So one more time, if you have questions at this point, scan the QR code or put the link into your browser. And I think we will switch to screen. Okay, so we'll go through each of your questions, and if part of them are still unanswered by the end of the Q&A, we will collect them and post them on Canvas. Is there any extra advice on how to organize my studies? Julie, do you want to take this one, and then I can kind of add what you think.
Yeah, so what I'd recommend is, I see I have it somewhere on here. Is there the possibility to share my screen? Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I see it's deactivated for me.
Let me Andrea, could you quickly change the role of Julius as a co-host so he can share his screen?
Yeah, so what I'm going to show you quickly is what I've did for my studies. I've filed an Excel file with all of the courses and an overview of which courses I've already done. Ja, ich sage fortfahren. So now I have to allow it. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, I can also post it quickly in the chat here.
Or you just check it quickly if you're able to share your screen.
No, because I still have to do. I still have to allow it in my
Settings. Okay.
Settings. This is not from the program planning. It's just a tool that I used. I programmed it quickly on Excel, where you can choose all your compulsory subjects for each semester, and where you can see how many credits you do for that semester. They all add up to the 120, including the bachelor thesis. I'd advise to plan ahead for every semester how many credits and which credits you want to do in these semesters. Compass also provides an overview of all the, yeah, that's it, perfect. If you go to the overview, yeah, so you see some credits are already done. It's basically, I just did it as an example in the 4 sheets. There are 4 sheets for each semester where you can, can you go quickly on the Pflichtbereich? It's I apologize, it's in German because it's just a note for me. If you go to the Pflichtbereich, can you please go to first semester and then go to Pflichtbereich? Yeah, perfect. Click on one of the cells in the Pflichtbereich. There's a drop down for each subject, which is part of the compulsory subject. If you do it, then you can choose how many credits this is and what your grade is for that semester. And then if you did it for that semester, there will be a check in the overview that you did the course. This is very helpful, so you can see. So now if you go to the, yeah, perfect. Yeah, and it will also show you if there are minus credits, how many minus credits you've done for that semester. And in the overview, it will show you then that you've done it for that semester. This is, for me, this was very helpful because Compass did provide me a good overview. See, there's a cross now for marketing for the course of the subject. Yeah, it was very helpful for me to structure my studies and to see how many credits of each. I think the German word is Gefäß. I have already done. Sometimes it can cause you a little bit of a headache if you need how many credits are still open on your Wahlbereich or of your Kontextbereich or your contextual studies, and to structure it in advance for all the 4 semesters, how many credits you want to do in total. So the typical plan to go would be 30 credits for each semester. So you can divide them all upon those 3 Gefäße. What I had a call with a friend from yesterday who's also studying in the bachelor's now, is what I advise is ahead of each semester, have a look at when your exams are going. So it can be very it can be very challenging if you have 5 exams in the central period at the end of the semester. What I advise is like maybe do 1 midterm exam, 1 of leadership, marketing, or strategic management. Then look that you have 3 or 4 contextual subjects and Fächer in the core electives, so that you have like 3 to 4 essays during the exam, during the semester, which you can do during the semester, and then not more than 4, ideally 3 exams in the central period. At least that would work best for me to not have a huge amount of stress which also is centralized at the end of the semester, because for four exams, 3 to 4 weeks preparation time are needed if you didn't do that much work during the semester to already prepare for the exam at the end of the semester. I think that's really the thing that will help you prevent a lot of stress. Don't think that you can do it all at the end of the semester and have a very fun semester where you do nothing during the semester. Prevent that. Try to divide your Prüfungsleistung exams or essays, that they are very well divided over the semester and don't cause you a lot of stress when you work individually on them.
Thank you, Julius, for the very good advice. I would have given the same one. So have a look at the deadlines. When are which deadlines? When are which exams taking place? And have a look if they're taking place at the same time, even though sometimes they might have different course hours. It might be on the same day. You don't want to end up having 2 exams on the same day. It's very stressful and not very much needed. So as most of the courses are being taught also a year later, you could kind of choose to take the course of the 2 semesters. So let me go to the further questions. So one example. Okay, is it advisable to work part-time during the bachelor? It depends. Me personally, when I was a bachelor student, I worked part-time between 20 and 40% a week. So it was like 1 to 2 days. But I kind of made sure that during the time that we had exams that I did not have to work. And this also meant that some part of the studies I did on the weekends. So kind of not fall behind. If you're a last minute learner, you kind of just put everything into the last 3 weeks. I think you'll be fine working part-time during the studies. If you're someone that wants to prepare ahead, as it was for me the case, you have to live with the fact that sometimes on Saturday mornings you would have kind of to write essays or to read something for the university, as you might not be able to do this during the week because you're working. Julius, I don't know, did you work during your bachelor's?
Not part-time on a continuing basis, but what I did is it depends on do you want to have a steady cash flow from work during your bachelor's, or do you want to gain industry experience? If you want to gain industry experience, I wouldn't advise to work part-time, simply because it can be very hard to balance the studies and also trying to get a full-on view into the company that you're working for and its respective industry. So what I did is in my 3rd semester, I did what it's called like a vacation semester, where it's a reduced study fee that you have to give to the university, but while you're doing it, you can still do core electives and compulsory subjects. So it's still possible to do some credits or ECTS during that. For me, at least for me, it was. And what I did is in my 3rd semester, I did a 100% internship at a company, and during that I did like 10 credits, so that I can reduce my credit load to some degree, but not to really make it stressful for me. And then I made sure that during the final exam phase and during the central studies, my job was over and I had 3 or 4 weeks to study. I think that is maybe the best way to go. Yeah, you have to do an extra semester during the bachelor's, but it is a great opportunity to really focus on the company and to gain industry experience. If you want to work part-time, from friends, what I've heard is you can do it, and it can also give you, like Idona said, a valuable experience. But it's not that easy if you've done 1 or 2 semesters to get a working student job. and then to get a job which just where you can just work 20%, because that's not that valuable to any company. You will work at least 40% at most companies if you're doing a working student job, and 40% are on the contract. But I don't know if it was the case for you, Idona, but it can lead to more than 40% in real life when you work the job. I know that because I had the opportunity after my last internship to also do a working student job, and I had the experience from some other working student that it can be quite challenging and that it's not only a 40% job. But I think Idona has more info on that.
Yeah, so this was exactly the case for me. So I worked between 20 and 40%. Most of the time it was more than 40, so around 50, 60 as a working student, because there's an event you have to go to, or like a fair where you have to be there and help build things. So what I did was then kind of have in my contract that during the semester breaks, I would be able to work 100% to kind of get like the free time for my exam. So just a quick note also that the studies are full-time studies. So we are not a part-time study university, even though we kind of know that sometimes you have to work because of your financial situation. But if you're struggling financially, there are also funds at the university where you kind of could get some support from. So I know that for most of the students that work, they might work as a waiter or something similar. It is because of their financial situation, not for work experience. And if you're really struggling, there are places that help you with this. Nothing, we have the information also then in the later presentation. So let me move to the next question. How can you estimate if your grades are good enough for a certain exchange? You cannot, I would say, because it depends on who is applying. So if you want to go with a partner university, you would kind of be in competition with everyone that wants to go to this partner university from the University of St.Gallen. If you have in general good grades, this shouldn't be a problem. If you have like good grades and it's like the one university that everyone wants to go to, it might be a little bit difficult. But for a free mover university, you don't have to put in your grades for most of the time. If you want to go as a free mover, you can just go. But there's more information on that at the student website of the exchange semester. No, like at the compulsory course, when I bid 0, I don't think that you can bid 0 points within the bidding tool. I think you, or is it use? I'm not quite sure.
I think you can. So
Okay,
at least for the compulsory subjects like marketing, strategic management, and all the other, I think you can just bid 0. Yeah.
Okay. So you can, and I think I will get in. Keep in mind that they're all like then tutoring groups. I think you should have to bid on them also for strategic management and all this. And that if you want to go to a specific tutor, he is very good or he is very good, you would have to bid actually some points within this. Yeah.
If I may just add to this, so you actually don't bid for the course itself, but for the exercise groups. And if you definitely want to have a spot in the course, you just bid 0 for each exercise group. If you want a specific exercise group, like Idona said, you bid a few more points on the one that you prefer to have.
Hopefully this is answered. Okay, let us move to the next one. What are the easiest classes to pass for non-native German speakers? I'm not quite sure, because I'm not native German, but I grew up speaking German. I mean, you could have a look at the course content. For example, there are courses like finance where a lot of terms will be in English. So you could choose to kind of have these courses in German rather than English. But do you know which one are easier to have?
I'd advise to have a look into also into contextual studies, maybe like courses which I mean, if you for example, history courses, there are some courses which give 6 credits per course, and history isn't something that can be changed, or if it makes a difference if you have industry knowledge or something like that. So it's generally in general you can there's a look for courses which have a lot of if you don't really know German, which have a lot of extra info material on the internet, like YouTube or Core, where you can have information for your exam, so you're well prepared. That's what I would advise adding to Idona.
And may I also quickly add, so unfortunately for the complementary language requirement, you cannot do contextual study courses. It has to be from the core study, so compulsory courses,
Sorry.
core electives, right? Just from anecdotal evidence, we know that many students choose the fundamentals and methods of computer science as a course to do in German because the language taught, the programming language, is universal. It's neither German or English, or maybe more quantitative courses like statistics, where you do more calculations as opposed to like writing essays. But I think this is also a question where you talk best with peers who have already gone through it and who would probably be able to advise you best.
Okay. So how do minus credits work in the bachelor? Christina, do you want to answer this one?
Actually, I thought Julius' Excel sheet was really helpful for that. So the idea of, do you want to elaborate? I'm sure you.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
So it works exactly like in the assessment. So you don't have 12, but an overall 18 minus credits, which you can have on the bachelor. If you have the calculation like that, works exactly the same. So say you have a grade of a 3, the grade to successfully do the course is always 4. So the difference of the 3 of 4 minus 3 is 1, and that times the credit load. For example, if you have 4 ECTS on that course, you have 4 minus credits. And if you're over 18 minus credits, you'll be introduced to the Bachelor 2.0. But I leave it to you guys what will happen then. Luckily I didn't have to do it.
One more additional information to this is that, so it's 18 credit or minus credit points overall, but 10 minus credit points in the core studies as well. So you have to be careful with the compulsory courses, especially that you don't get too low grades.
And what happens in the Bachelor 2.0?
That's basically the same as 1.0. So you have to redo all the courses that you took where you got negative grades. So then you're in the second trial, zweiter Versuch. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I had some friends who had to do it, but they made sure that they fail extra hard when they had it. So the thing is, the more subject you have minus credits in, and if you go over that 18 minus credits, if you have like 3, if you have one subject where you didn't do good and you're already sure that you want to do the Bachelor 2.0, I wouldn't say it's smarter, but it's better if you then fail extra hard on purpose. So you just have 2 subjects which you will have to redo in the Bachelor 2.0. Sometimes if you have like a minus credit load, but only gradual in like 5 courses, and you go over those 18 credits in total and those 10 in compulsory, you have to redo 5 extra 5 courses. So think about it if you want to go down that route, but in general, don't aim for minus credits. Not a good thing.
Yeah, and I think in general you should be fine if you show up to classes and if you kind of put a little bit effort into studying, you should pass your exam. I mean, we all have bad days, but most of the cases people are doing fine. So are 100 of 120 points in TOEFL still enough for the exchange semester? I'm not quite sure if I'm knowledgeable enough to answer this question.
Yes, I actually just looked it up. Thankfully, Student Web is actually an amazing resource, and almost any question is answered there. So I will put it in the chat as well. But yes, indeed, 100 is the minimum points you have to have on a TOEFL test. I'll post the link in the chat.
Okay, good to know. If you don't like a specific voluntary distillation but have started studying, are you able to drop it? Yeah. The thing with the voluntary specialization is it only gets accredited, or you get only the diploma supplement if you actually fulfill the criteria of doing 4 core electives within the specialization and either your bachelor thesis or your capstone project. So you might even start the semester having in mind like that you want to do accounting, controlling and auditing, and then change your mind about it because you kind of figure out that you don't like these courses, and then go to and take on the road to do specialization in business informatics or business information systems. So you until the end of your studies, you kind of can change your specializations. You only would have to make sure that you have these 4 core electives and either your bachelor thesis or your capstone project within the specialization. In which semester is it recommended to do an exchange? So I did it for myself when I was done with my compulsory courses. So when I knew that I did not have to take any compulsory courses at the University of St.Gallen anymore, which for me would have been then the 5th semester or the 6th semester, and make sure that you have to apply ahead. So if you want to go to exchange semester next year, I think you will have to apply around November or something like that. You can check up to dates in Student Web. I think, and there's also going to be a information day from the exchange. Yeah. And what are the conditions for free mover programs? It really depends where you're going to. I was as a free mover in Medellin in Colombia. And so the university that you're planning to go to has to accept you. And you have to put in like a formal application there. And it has to be a university that is kind of linked with the University of St.Gallen. So the free mover in universities is like, there's a big list that you can find online, that you can look up where people have been before. And I think there's also like experience reports online of people that have been to exchanges that it could have a look at the courses they took or which courses got accredited towards the bachelor's or master's. Yeah. I hope this answered your question. If not, just put it again, and I will try to elaborate. Is there a difference between the TOEFL and the IELTS? I'm not quite sure. I think for the exchange semester, I'm not quite sure if this is true or not, but I think that for the exchange semester for the partner university, you have to do a TOEFL. But if you're kind of unsure about something, you just can ask the admission of the exchange. Yeah. Christina?
Actually, in the student web link I just posted in the chat, it says that just one of the following English language certifications must be submitted. So it's either the TOEFL or the IELTS or Cambridge Advanced or Proficiency. So you can find all that information under exchange prerequisites.
Great. And by the way, there might be some other, but depending on where you want to go to, there might be other requirements. So if you want to go to a Spanish-speaking university, you might have to have a Spanish certificate or a B2 or something like that. Just look it up. What is the actual requirement for the university that you want to go to? Where can one find reviews on the courses? I'm not quite sure if are there, because I did not use Bidded because we don't bid on courses anymore in the PhD program. Julius, are there reviews in Bidded of the courses?
I don't know. It's also the first time I'm using it for my upcoming masters. To be honest, a lot of the courses I choose were word of mouth or interested based, and yeah, it's not an official advice, but if you're really interested in the subject and if you really need some peer reviews or peer experience, you can also write it on Yodel. Sometimes other students will be very helpful, providing you with some experience.
Yeah, but keep in mind, like with, I'm sorry, Christina, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I actually just heard this morning that the bidding development team is planning on adding the reviews in the next couple of weeks. So it will actually be available on Bidded for this coming, this next bidding session. So we'll see how foolproof it is, but the idea is that students have access to evaluations of other students.
Okay, so keep in mind with like every review, I don't know if you write reviews, if you go to a restaurant or to a hotel, if you feel like satisfied, but not super excited, and you did not find it like super bad. Most of reviews are written in the extreme, like if you really disliked it or you really liked it. So you most probably you will not find any reviews that said like, okay, the course was okay, the professor was fine, the exam was also like kind of fine. It would rather be this course was horrible or it was excellent. So just keep that in mind when you read reviews also for planning presentations or something similar. So I think we have time for one more question. Mr. Bidding, first come, first serve. No, I'm sorry. It's not first come, first serve. There's like an algorithm that is behind it. I mean, you kind of put points to each of the courses you are bidding on, then it kind of gets calculated how the demand is for that course. So for example, if everyone puts 500 points towards a course, the algorithm will kind of decide, okay, to get into this course, you will have needed like 400 points, for example, or 480 or something like that, and then they will give you 20 points back. But actually it is kind of demand based. So the amount of points that you will need in each round to get into the course might also differ. You might get into the course in the first round with like 80 points, and then because there are less seats or spots available within the course in the second round, the kind of the amount of points needed to get into the course might be higher. So I don't know. During my master's, I did not figure out how to bid it in a clever way. I don't know, Julius, did you have like a strategy? I looked at the things that I was most interested in, and I tried not to take courses that were super popular or super easy because everyone would bid on them. But I rather took courses or bid on courses that I was interested in. And most of the time, kind of when you're bid on courses that you're interested in and that are not the most easiest courses, you will be fine and get into the course.
I did it quite similarly. There are some courses for which you would have to bid all of your points. I'd advise not to aim for them because then you lose out on other subjects. plan ahead and look at and make a plan. Is there not only the 1A solution, but is there also a 1B solution for a course which is maybe less demanded? Because if you go for such a popular course in the first round of bidding, chances are not that high that if you lose out, that in the second or third round of bidding there will be a lot of options which are desirable to choose from. So yeah, I think maybe with Bidded it's also easier to identify those highly popular courses.
Okay. So, and if you have struggled with bidding your courses, you can also contact us like anytime, and we can have a look at it together. I will quickly jump back to the presentation because we were kind of at the end of our time. All of the questions that did not get answered right now, we have like a big FAQ of Canvas. Most of the times students have similar questions. If you have something in particular that is not on the FAQs, or that is rather personal to you, just write us an email. We will show you the contact details later on. And if there are questions right here that are not in our FAQs, we will expand our FAQs with these questions. So before I end this presentation, we would like to point you to the student interest survey. The student interest survey is really helpful to us to kind of plan the curriculum and to know what you look out for during your studies. And one good point is that there is something that you can win. So you can win a Halske hoodie. The winners will be contacted via email. I think at the end of the student interest survey, you will get asked to put in your email if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. And this would be really helpful for us, and also would be really cool for the cold autumn that is approaching us. That you would be warm. So let me move forward. At this point, I would like to thank you for your attention. And as I mentioned, if you have any other questions concerning your studies or concerning any of the bidding or the languages, there are many people that are very happy to help you, from the languages offices, from the admissions, and also us. Just don't be ashamed. I think a lot of time people are kind of afraid to post questions. Just write an email or phone us, and we will be really happy to help you. Without further ado, I would like to thank you and wish you a wonderful evening.